The greatest baseball hitters fail 7 out of 10 times. But we focus on the 3. We focus on the 3 out of 10, the 300 batting average. In life, we are going to fail probably 7 out of 10 times as parents. And it's important to remember that it's okay. And the real lesson is, how do we learn from that? My name is Jimmy Walters. I am a husband, father, member of the Knights of Columbus, and author. I'm married to the love of my life, Susie, for 14 years. 2016, we had our first daughter, Shay, and then Lily was born. She's our COVID baby. She was born May 13th in 2020.
I've known Jimmy since he's been 6 years old, and him and his family would always be in church all the time. I would use sports in order to get people involved with things and go back to church. And Jimmy and I, being Met fans, always talked about the Mets and go to ball games and different things like that.
My dad took me to probably 500 Met games in my life, baseball games. It was a way of connecting. And I think of that sacrifice, how often he had to be exhausted from working all day. And he created space for us just to be and to develop and nurture our relationship. Faith and family were most important. It was authentic for him.
Fatherhood, it's an important aspect of society that's sometimes ignored. People have relationships and they bring children to the world, and sometimes people get so engrossed in their work, their hobbies, and I hate to say it, but sometimes they neglect their children. And it's not healthy, physically, spiritually, or psychologically.
I don't know if our society is always lifting up fatherhood as the vocation it truly is. I would see these young men with these desires to achieve financial success, other statuses, and power in some different ways. Yet many of them are going to be dads. And what I'm trying to do is give a focus and to see this as not just a calling from God, but that God has prepared them to do this. I really felt called to use my writing and to use my own vocation to create space for fathers or soon-to-be fathers to explore this vocation, connecting it deeper to their faith. I first joined the Knights when I was in college. It's been a wonderful experience. Been a community that I've been seeking of other Catholic dads and grandfathers who share similar values, who have a real strong commitment to the community and just building relationships. I found other people who can mentor me as a young dad, but also to have a space with other young dads.
Men who bring life into the world need to be responsible for sharing their life and their faith with their children. And through the Knights of Columbus, it's very family-oriented and such that it reminds men who join the Knights that they do have a responsibility to their families as well as to the ideals of Father McGivney of taking care of those who are less fortunate than we are.
I was starting to write this new book on fatherhood for expecting dads. And then my wife's second pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. We were shocked. And I stopped writing. I just had to pause and wonder, is it worth continuing? Mom is going through the physical experience. And I tried to be as strong as I could for Susie at home. And yet every day I cried in my office. I tried to find something that would bring me peace or help me grieve, which has inspired my writing and has helped me think of other dads who are having that challenge. And now accompanying some friends who've experienced miscarriages. Everyone has their own experience and their own journey. But to say, I know what you're going through on some level really is helpful. I've realized for myself and for other dads is there is a need when people are ready to have some sort of community or space to find some solidarity. So I wrote this book called Batter Up, Answering God's Call for Faith and Fatherhood. And I used the metaphor of baseball for the reader to explore fatherhood as a vocation from God. There are 3 skills that I've learned that I think all fathers can continue to work on to be the best dads they can to their children. One is expressing emotions. Second is non-judgmental listening. And the third is practicing patience.
I think the book is going to impact men in a very different way because society says one thing and our faith says something totally different. And Jimmy expresses that very well in his book.
I was never good at playing baseball. I love the sport, but God did not give me those talents. But I was able to write about it. And it's through my writing that this book brought up using fatherhood as helping dads or guys who are discerning to be fathers to see it as a vocation, a calling from God, and to also build a sense of solidarity and community amongst them.